So this graph came from question 9 of the 2018 final paper, and it was a graph of resistance in ohms versus 1 upon current. And let's suppose you're scratching your head and wondering, why on earth would an examiner give 1 upon current? Why not just current? And this is a trick. The relationship between resistance and current is inverse, but this is a trick which they use. If you invert one of these, either that one or either current or resistance, you're going to get a directly proportional relationship, and that will result in a straight line graph, especially since we've got resistance and current, and they are directly proportional once you invert one of them. So then you get your straight line graph, and then you can extrapolate your straight line graph till this point. This is just an extrapolated point, and this hypothetical point will get you to -3, which is the answer. Or you can work out the slope of the graph, which is the EMF. So either way, these would be very hard to do if you had a graph of resistance versus straight current, because that would result in a hyperbola graph. And you can't really extrapolate or work out slopes of that because it's changing. So I'm going to go to docs.google.com/spreadsheets, and I'm going to take these plots. You'll recognize it. For example, if our 1 upon current is 2, our resistance is 11. Just remember that. Our 1 upon current is 2, our resistance is 11, and I'm going to now go to here. There was our 1 upon current 2, there's our resistance 11. Here are all the various plots of the graph. And you will recognize this as our graph from the exam paper. Do you see that? There, for example, 1.57, and if we go back to the paper, 1.57. So it is exactly the same graph which I've replotted here. So there you see the graph. Now you might be asking, now what if we'd had a graph of resistance versus straight current, which was the raw data before they inverted it? What would that graph look like? And here I've inverted those values to get current values. And let's see what the graph of current versus resistance looks like. So this actually should be 1 upon current versus resistance. I'm just looking at that. Yeah. This should be, oh, there we see it, 1 upon current versus resistance, and the other graph is just straight current versus resistance. And you see your hyperbola, very hard to get a slope of the graph, very hard to extrapolate, it's changing all the time. And so that is why they have chosen instead to give you a straight line graph by inverting the current, 1 upon current, and then you get the straight line graph, which you can extrapolate till you've got no internal or external resistance, and then that's when your current here is at a maximum, and so you can use those values in the problem. Now, if you're at all interested in going to docs.google.com/spreadsheets and you want to draw your own graphs, you can input your values, then you just highlight the columns that you're going to draw the graphs of. Do you see how I've just highlighted it? And then you go to Insert, Chart. You just wait a few seconds. I'm just going to move this slightly out of the way. We need to choose our chart type. So we go to you click on chart type. We're going to use a line graph. You see how the graph doesn't look quite right. It's got two different types there, so we need to go and use column A as label. So we tick that, and there we now get the correct type of graph. And that's how easy it is to draw the graph. So let's just move this out of the way again. And so we could do the same thing with this, with these values. So we highlight it. I'm leaving out that last value. So here we've got current versus resistance. We've highlighted that. We go to Insert, Chart. Wait a second or so. We're going to choose the chart type. line. You see it's got the two graphs, but we want them all combined into one graph, so we use column A as labels, and there you see we've got our graph. And then we could customize it and do various things, and then add that this is going to be our current and that is going to be the resistance. So we could customize it and do various types of things as you saw. So docs.google.com/spreadsheets, you can play around, draw graphs, play with the data, and just see the different shapes of graphs that you get.